Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into comic book movies, blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my co-host, Devin. And we have a special guest here on the show with us, friend of the show. We have AMX NDA Reviews, Amanda, over at Candid Cinema, to give our thoughts about Euphoria Season 2. And before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on platforms around the internet, on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FilmOptix. That is Optix with an X. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, my co-host, how are you doing on this fine Saturday?
I think we're all feeling a bit tired. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I'm.
It's like it's contagious.
It really is, man. I'm chugging along. A few takes here and there, but I mean, I've been, trying to stay hydrated, drinking some water, and yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. I had not a super long night last night, but I don't know. It's just been a really weird weekend. I mean, I watched all the Boys Diabolical, kind of just blew through that in like 2 hours.
Those are 15 minutes each.
Yeah, I was like, thank God. I was like, thank God these are only like 13 minutes each. But Amanda, how are you doing today on this amazing Saturday?
I'm feeling tired but energized at the same time. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been feeling like exhausted the whole week. So I think I'm just tired of winter and it needs to like get the hell out of here. I think that's what it is.
That would definitely help.
What are like the winter months in Canada? Like how long does it span?
Oh man,
it's like a year-round thing. You only get like 2 months out of the year. That's very, springtime.
Yeah, honestly. So it's like, I guess November to March is our winter.
That's about ours too.
Yeah, and in Ohio, it's about the same.
I can't do it anymore. I can't.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, you can always become an American citizen if you want to. So
soon, yeah.
You can enroll in Euphoria High School.
Yeah,
no,
that's the name of their high school, right?
I'd fix those kids. That's all I'm gonna say.
I would go to that high school over Degrassi. I feel like
same. Actually, it'd be more eventful.
It would, and it's more
and better shot,
and better. Yes,
yes.
Well, God, I mean, Degrassi's been on the air for when our parents were kids. Like that's not that's a long running show, and I think it's actually coming back soon, if I'm not mistaken,
on HBO.
Oh my gosh!
So I'm like, let's do a crossover. Yes. Oh my God!
Someone if he's the principal. Sam Levinson.
Let Drake be the principal.
We can have like an old school like iCarly and like Victoria's crossover episode like they did. Like, hey, these are two kids who go to high school. This is, they could be in the same universe.
I was telling Christian before we started that Drake produces Euphoria.
Oh my God, I'm from Toronto and I don't know that. That just breaks my heart.
You never saw his name pop up before the show starts?
No. I think I'm just so nervous for the show to start that I don't pay attention. I think that's what it is.
And I think Zendaya, she's a executive producer on the show as well.
That I know.
Yeah, I wasn't. Is it for season 1 and 2 or just season 2?
I feel like she came in. Yeah, or I feel like she came in as 2 to have more control over Rue, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she is the best character. So
God bless her.
Seriously. But you guys, so actually before we get into our review here of our coverage, however you want to call it, for Euphoria season 2, that's just a spoiler warning straight up. We're just going to get into spoilers for this episode because it's been a little bit over a week since the season finale hits on HBO Max. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go watch it. It's a blast. We will actually do like an initial reaction before we actually get into spoilers. So I'll do like one more spoiler warning prior. So like this is like the small little window. If you haven't seen it, listen to our initial reactions, and then we're going to get straight into spoilers from there, just to kind of give people, you got to give the people what they want. So, all right. Are you guys ready to get into our Euphoria season 2 coverage?
Yeah, I just hope my part doesn't get cut out like Cat.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. That's fired. All right. We're going to get into all the juicy high school drama here. We'll be right back after this introduction to Euphoria Season 2.
When you're younger, everything feels so permanent. But as you get older, you begin to realize nothing is. And everyone you love can drift away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back with our Euphoria Season 2 coverage here on the Film Optix podcast. And the synopsis is as follows: a look at life for a group of high school students as they grapple, sure, with issues of drugs, sex, and violence, blood, sex, and booze, all that good stuff, I guess you could say. Creator of the show. What's up?
It's a lot going on.
It is a lot going on. Creator of the show is Sam Levinson and stars Zendaya, Hunter Schafer, Angus Cloud, and many, many more. So we're kind of just going to get into it. Just give our initial reactions, like I mentioned before the introduction. We'll start with Amanda, because I know it's going to rip the Band-Aid off now. And then we'll go to Devin, and then it will end with me. So Amanda, take it away.
Look, I absolutely love this show. I actually binge watched the first season ahead of season 2. And I forgot how much I loved it because it's been 2 years since we had Euphoria like blow up HBO on back in the day when, you know, things were different. But
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Still feels like it's 2020.
Legit, it does. But yeah, the solo episodes were really strong. And then going into season 2, that first episode was great. I thought it was really solid. It had clear direction. The writing and placement of each of these characters and their dynamic with everyone was kind of set up in that first episode. Second episode was a bit better, whatever. For me, this whole season has been really rocky. The editing has been my number one peeve. I really don't like the way he cuts certain scenes and in sequence and out of sequence, so you don't really have a clear timeline. And the writing for certain characters, just not about that life, especially for my girl Cassie. But I think Sydney Sweeney gave a performance and a half this season. I thought she was absolutely phenomenal and controlled every single episode that she was in. Every single season. I felt Rue was sidelined in the first half, but I kind of understood why, because they wanted to keep the addiction hidden, that she relapsed, and I get that, but at the same time, like, Rue is the best character on this show.
100%.
So I kind of didn't like that they did that. The last half for Rue was really strong. Do not care about Jules. I think that Hunter Schafer can just like leave the show because I just don't care anymore. No offense to her, but the character is just done, basically. I don't see her purpose going into S3. But yeah, it was just really rocky. It was rocky. I don't care about Nate. Don't care about Cal. Too much of them. Way too much of them. But Maddie's the all-star of the season. And that's pretty much where I'm standing. It was rocky. It was enjoyable. They need women writers in the writer's room moving forward to season 3.
All right, Devin, what about you?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever discussed Euphoria.
No, we haven't, because when we were watching season 1, I guess it was the same thing with like The Boys season 1. Like, we decided to watch it. We just didn't decide to cover it, which I think is fine. It was just something that kind of, we're like, yeah, like, this is a great show. Like
that hype train just kept chugging.
Yeah, for sure. But sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Yeah,
it's like, this shows an interesting intersection of like the classic teen drama TV show, like the cheap, like your Riverdales, your Degrassi's, obviously, but the difference being this one has the production and backing of HBO, which just makes it look amazing. So like the cinematography and everything. And at the end of the day, it's entertaining. It's definitely a bit of a rocky ride, like Manda mentioned. Some characters seem to take the spotlight randomly, like Cal got his own little episode. It was a cool episode, but it just feels like why do we need to feel sympathy for him? I don't know.
It was weird because like it was like an out of body type of situation. You're like watching his like story as a young kid, and you're like, oh my God, this is like so heartbreaking, and you connect with him, and then you like go back and you're like, wait a minute,
That's
this is
reality.
his episode. I don't care. Like, yeah, it was really messed up, like just so messed with Cal.
Yeah, and you notice with a lot of seasons, and I guess I'll go with my initial reactions. Overall, I really did enjoy the season. I mean, there were things I wasn't super crazy about. Like we've said before. I mean, Rue is the star of the show. Honestly, Rue, her mother, and her sister. I wish the mother and sister would have gotten a little bit more screen time. Same thing with Coleman Domingo's character, but I honestly think they're like the best. And of course, Angus is Fez. Fezco. I think he's fantastic. I mean, the entire cast is amazing, and like we said, it's that petty, or like actually this is a little bit more hardcore, like teenage drama. It feels like the Degrassi we should have gotten when Jimmy got shot in
oh my God.
Because like they always seem to like, they're like, oh, the next episode of Degrassi, and then it's like all this super dramatized things, but it's only like leading up to like one big moment and then just falls off. But this season of Euphoria definitely felt very chaotic, which I liked in a way. I mean, like that, that brings a lot of good, but it also brings a lot of bad as well. Like we said with Cal, like I like Cal as a character. I thought he was very interesting. I wanted to dive deeper into Nate's psyche this season because there's a lot going on with him, and
you'll get lost if you dive in there.
Yeah.
That'll be like a whole season just dedicated to Nathaniel, because like, God.
Yeah. I will say during the beginning, actually, before I even go any further, I want to say that I would definitely watch the interludes episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you can just
the
watch
Rue one
Ruse.
was great.
Yeah, you can just watch Ruse.
No one cares about Jules anymore. Sorry.
And I mean, like you said, Amanda, like no like spite, like no slight to her whatsoever. I just don't. She doesn't really serve a purpose anymore. She wasn't my favorite character to begin with. Like even from like season 1, I was like, okay, like she's a cool character, but like she was never my favorite. I definitely gravitated towards the others.
And it's interesting that the legacy characters like Kat and Jules are just kind of took a backseat, and then they introduced like Elliot and Cal.
I kind of liked Elliot. I did like it. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on him for sure.
I mean, he like for him to sing that long in the finale.
That was rough.
Okay, you guys, I am a big musical person, so I was sitting there like, this is
I
liked it.
I fast forwarded. I was like, I can't.
Did you
I wish I
really?
No,
did.
I'm joking. I didn't do that. I just sat there. I
know.
was like, why is this happening? Then I on Twitter, like, as I had to watch it after, because the SAGs were on that Sunday. So I did that. I watched it after, and then I was like, why is Elliot singing? So I typed it on Twitter, and all the memes of people making fun of them. I'm like, oh no. I was like, this
got a
is
good
gonna
voice.
last.
It's pretty decent voice.
A full-on 3-minute performance.
That was a 3-minute performance, yeah.
But see now, like that 3 minutes could have gone to Kat, could have gone to Jules with some form of development. And there's like rumors going around that Kat and him, like Kat and Levinson Barbie Ferreira and Sam Levinson had a disagreement, which came out apparently. But also,
she broke her foot, I believe, as well on set.
She just has head trauma. What are you talking? She has what did she call it in the show?
What was it? I don't know what it
brain
was.
Disease?
Brain disease or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I was like, she
Poor
would
Ethan.
never say this, right? And then he was a superstar in Lexi's play. But like for me, I think that there was a lot of stuff happening offset that really changed the script.
Oh, yeah.
So I heard that Hunter Schafer and Jacob Elordi are like at odds, and that Cassie's storyline was supposed to be Jules this season. That's what I heard. So everything that Cassie and Nate do together was supposed to be Jules and Nate.
I don't think that would have been very interesting.
I don't think that would have been interesting at all. Cassie is like you guys said, outside of Rue, because like up to about, I would say like not season 5, but like episode 5.
Yeah.
Like, Rue kind of takes a back seat until then. But like you guys said, Sydney Sweeney definitely takes, like, she carries this season on her back.
I just want to give a shout out. We haven't mentioned Lexi yet. She was great.
She
Oh,
was
yeah.
good. She was a silent killer, like
She
literally.
really is. Like Lexi's
Yeah.
play
One of
was-
the only likable characters.
Oh yeah. She
Yeah.
aired everyone out. I'm like, yes, girl. But
She really
also,
did.
she's also like, if you put it on the like the shoe on the other foot, what she did to her sister instead of just talking to her about her feelings.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna put on a whole play instead of talking to my own sister in her house. Like, that's literally like, oh my God. Maybe because I have such a soft spot for Cassie, I just felt really bad.
When she got up on that stage and started going off, that was amazing.
Oh my God, Sydney. Like, God bless.
Yeah, no, she did a fantastic job. Yeah, those are pretty much my initial reaction for Euphoria season 2. So that is your spoiler warning for Euphoria season 2. Again, that is your second spoiler warning for Euphoria season 2. So if you haven't, I mean, we've kind of already gotten to spoilers, and I do apologize, y'all. It's like I said, this is a very irregular episode, much like the entire season of Euphoria season 2. We're kind of going back and forth doing our own thing. So, but yeah, like, man, I don't even know where to begin. I guess RIP to the man
Ashtray
the
himself. Kid Ashtray.
The kid.
Yes, the child.
Kid
Future
Ashtray.
Umbrella Academy star.
Right?
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, so now I know why they killed him.
That timing could not have been better.
It's like, now I get it.
I actually heard that they were contemplating between him or Vesco dying in that episode.
Yeah, and they changed the script the day before.
Oh,
it feels like it makes sense because obviously he wants his acting career to keep going and try other things. And Vesco is just such a fan favorite. I feel like if they killed him off,
Vesco.
People would riot.
I love him. Well, I think that if they had to do an expendable character, unfortunately, it is Ashtray. I don't like the way it was done whatsoever. It was done for shock value, like 100%. And like, you don't need to kill someone off, but like the stakes were like up here. Like they really just built so much anticipation with Lori, who's also like not doing anything with Rue. So they kind of pushed that into season 3.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well.
That briefcase just kind of got pushed to the side.
So I guess that's going to be in season 3. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off, but it seems odd because I thought they were going to address it at some point, especially after, she brings the suitcase to AA and Ali kind of like asks Rue, like, what's in the bag? And she gets a little, combative and stuff like that. But I mean, it's this season, it's between Lexi, Cassie, and Rue. Like those three really.
Rue was frustrating though.
But I mean, what do you mean by frustrating? Oh, herself, or were you frustrated?
Just her choices, which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, episode 5 was like all about Rue, but like I even felt bad like after, like, I mean, she, like I said, she's my favorite character.
Yeah.
And I really felt for like, even after when she finally comes home and she's like trying to open up the Jolly Rancher and she's like, she's literally just like, she's so broken. She's so lost. And like, I mean, this all stems back from her father. And I think they mentioned in the season as well, like, there are just some, like, between certain characters, there's some people who just have like those life-defining moments that they'll never recover from.
Yeah.
And definitely Rue losing her father, and of course, with everything in their family, like that's just, it's never going to be the same. She's never going to be the same person again, which is, I mean, it kind of sucks, but like you really feel for her. And I feel like this season, like the show itself is all about empathy. So it's like, that's a really big thing. And I'm like, man, I was feeling for her. I was like, damn, this is terrible.
And I feel like the way they wrote her was that you saw her like go into the relapse.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there like, I want to help her. It's not like, screw you, I don't want to like have anything to do. It's like, I need to help her. And you're like Devin said, like you're questioning her decisions, of course, but it's because you care so much for the character. And I think that they really crafted her character extremely well so other people can kind of connect with her on, in relating to her character on like all sides, basically. If you are suffering from addiction or if you have someone who is suffering from addiction, you can always like connect with her in that way. And I think it's really important that Zendaya has control of that as executive producer because she knows the character more than Sam Levinson does, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's no coincidence that her episode is the standout of the season by far.
Yeah.
She's just such a star.
She's phenomenal. Yeah.
And I agree. Like, there's been a lot of like rumors about like Sam Levinson like overworking like all the actors and actresses on set. I'm not sure if that's like 100% true, because I read an article on Variety that like HBO kind of like pushed back on that. So I really don't know the whole story. I never really dug too deep into it, but I mean, it is kind of crazy. I know with Barbie, I believe she like broke her set on foot, or her foot on set, excuse me. During, I want to say I did read that somewhere, but correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone out there listening, you can tweet at us at Film Optix. Let us know if we're wrong about that. But yeah, I mean, the whole season, it definitely feels like, even during the beginning of the season, like obviously it starts after New Year's. So it's technically the second semester of school for them, at least. So I'm like, okay, that's different, because usually it's like, new season, new year at school, whatever. But it seems that they're breaking it up into semesters. Like Amanda said, I liked the first episode. It was very strong. It did feel more so of like the interlude. It felt like maybe like an episode or two later is when it's like, okay, like this is like actually when season 2 starts. You know what I mean? It's very, very strange. But I wanted to open up the floor really quick for you guys. If there's anything you wanted to touch on that we haven't gotten to yet, we'll start with Amanda, since she feels so strongly about everything, which is fine. I enjoy hearing your takes. So. And then we'll go to Devin.
I don't dislike it. I just think that season 1 was perfect. Like, I think it was just so well written. The execution was great. The ending still stays in my head. It's just, it's phenomenal. That I think that it got too much. They saw the success of season 1 and they're like, you know what? I don't want to make this a limited series. Let's push to season 2. And then they had nothing to work with. And I think that in season 2, as we know that the focus is on Rue especially in episode 5, but I think that the messaging got lost in what they were trying to do with the love triangles in season 2, rather than like season 1 was strictly like, this is the message we're giving out. This is someone who's been struggling with addiction, and they addressed it properly in season 1. I think that they just made it for shock value in season 2 because they didn't know what to do with these characters. So that's the first thing that I have to say about season 2 that kind of upset me. The other thing is that, and I've said this in all of my reviews on YouTube, it's the fact that these characters, especially the women, I know they're young, but women talk to each other. We communicate to each other. This stuff happening between Cassie and Maddie, or Rue and Jules, we would talk about it. So that's how it just upsets me that like it got to the point where they all end up really hating each other and drifting apart, when those are the conversations that we needed. We didn't need a cat fight. I don't know why you built up to a cat fight. Why? Shock value. But these women, if they care about each other, they'll sit down and talk about it. So I think that for me, sitting here as a woman watching this show, having Kat sideline like that on top of everything, because she was one of my favorite characters in season 1, and I loved her journey and of like just self-love and that level of confidence. You need that, especially with a plus size woman on the show. It just bothers me that they cast her aside. So I think that if we have female writers for season 3, they're going to be able to show that communication, because I think the strongest moment between Maddie and Cassie was when they're in the bathroom after the fight and Cassie's like, I don't know what to do about Nate. And then Maddie goes, this is just the beginning. She's still there for her in that one line. She's still telling her that I know him and he's going to torture you. So I wanted more of that conversation with the two of them, which we didn't get because the cat fight's more important. So for a show that has all of these characters together and there's like zero communication, and then that's where the issues start. Like, that's what I don't understand. So I'm sorry.
They're all communicating via a play written by someone else.
Exactly. So I kind of went off on a tangent, but yeah.
No, you're fine.
I'm glad you brought up that last bathroom scene though, because I thought that was pretty important to see that are kind of on common ground again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very, I mean, and you bring up a lot of good points because really the only like true, I guess, like girl bathroom scene we get is when Lexi was like, oh, like I'm writing a play. It's like, oh, what's it called? Oklahoma. And then you was like, you're writing a play called Oklahoma. Like I loved that back and forth, but like that was the only real like togetherness they have. But of course, you know, they keep going back to flashbacks during Rue's father's funeral. I really like how they put, like, I guess for this season, one thing that I liked was that they kind of displayed, hey, like Lexi and Rue were like best friends and they still are, but I felt like you didn't really
I love how that went full circle.
Yeah.
Because towards the end, they kind of seemed like they're back together as friends.
Yeah. Because they both left, like, you know, both of their father or, you know, Lexi's father and everything happening over there. But I do agree with you, Amanda, when it comes to, I feel like they would have had some kind of agreement. It felt like people were out of the dark. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, how did Jules not know that Rue relapsed? Like, even the first campfire scene during like the New Year's Eve party, Rue looked baked out of her mind.
And what do you think her and Elliot are doing together?
Like, come on. You can't be that stupid. It's like you made these characters dumb. Even her mom, how the hell does she know that she relapsed? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like you're her mother and you've seen this pattern before and you wait till what, the 5th episode and you're shook. Like, come on, you can't see that.
Yeah, that was really crazy. I mean, obviously Elliot being the person, and he actually, you know, came out and said, we're not good for each other. Like not even like, you know, in a relationship, not even as friends, because, you know, they had that bathroom scene together when she almost wins like cardiac arrest. So it's like, I mean, I liked, obviously, you know, when it comes to addicts, that stuff can happen, but I had no clue like that Jules and Ellie were in the other room. I was like, no, like this is about to get super messy right now. But it was hard to watch, not like in a bad way, but like it was just hard to, you know, even with Rue's sister, who was a little bit sidelined, but it's, again, like I said, you know, I really wish we would have gotten more with her because I felt like she had more to do in season 1.
I feel like we should just stop introducing new characters. we have so many.
There's so many, and then you lose focus. And I feel like even the screen time was evenly distributed in the first season extremely well because you're focusing one episode per person. And in this season, they did that, twice?
Yeah.
They did Fez and then Cal. And I'm like, those are the people? Like, you're choosing? Fez, yes. I love that they started out with Fez. But Cal, like, great. I think Lexi should have had a whole, like, episode, you know, like even more so.
And like you say, you know, like, and I mean, there's criticisms I've had, and it's just, it feels so chaotic. It did feel very unevenly balanced. The pacing, I thought was fine. Like, I personally, like, when it came to writing, like, of the show itself, of what we got at least, I thought it was fine. But then hearing what Amanda said about, you know, girls talking, because yes, all girls talk.
Sorry.
Anything, it's like a bunch of girls acting like a bunch of dudes, and they're just like, whatever, dude.
Yeah,
but like yeah,
no
I mean,
does that.
Yeah, it's girls are always going to talk. And I was very surprised that like Cassie made it that long with at least to episode 5, because I'm like, Maddie's going to find out. It's some way, shape, or form. But I love the way how she finds out
forever.
Yeah.
But see, okay, that's where the editing comes in, and it bothered me because it was a Rue heavy episode, right? That tidbit happened, and then they saved the argument between Cassie and Maddie for 2 episodes later.
Yeah. That was kind of weird.
I like the drop because it makes complete sense as to why Rue would even say it to
she's trying to
dip. Yeah, exactly. She's trying to dip. She's like, I have some tea, and like this is gonna cause chaos. And like I get it. But again, the editing, the placements, that's what causes like the emotional disconnect with these characters for me.
That's actually a good point, because I mean, I do want to rewatch it now that it's like all out, but maybe later on because there's so much coming out. But that is true. And I was wondering why it took them so long to address, like, you know, like, because the big secret that was that, you know, that Cassie was with Nate, and, you know, that whole, I mean, I felt so bad for Cassie though. I was like, she's just trying to make it out here, y'all. Like, she's just out here trying to like be herself, but
I like how she stood up for herself a few times.
Yeah. Which is really nice. But like, we never, like, I mean, the tape is still going around, or the file, or I guess Jules has it, but I can't remember. Did she destroy it or not? Or
she burned it.
Did she?
He's
burn
in jail
it?
now, so
yeah,
that's yeah. But I did hear. This is a rumor, obviously, that they're trying. Apparently, they're going to try to give Cal like a redemption arc. And I'm not sure if I like that, because the same thing happens in, what was it?
Stop watching.
My gosh, it was 13 Reasons Why, season 3 with Bryce. And, you know, like, they clearly show that he was, you know, like a rapist or whatever. And
if your name is Bryce, you can't be redeemed. I don't even know anything about the show.
Except if it's Dallas Howard, so.
Right. And like, because I watched the first 2 seasons. I'm like, okay, look, obviously season 1 was really good, because that's when the book ends. But, you know, they kept going. And then season 2, I was like, well, okay. And then season 3, I was like, started watching. I'm like, what is this? And then I stopped. My friend's like, oh, he's like, you want to know what happens? I'm like, just tell me. He's like, yeah. He's like, they're trying to redeem Bryce. I'm like, I don't, that just doesn't work in that fashion. So I don't know what plans they have for season 3. Hopefully they kind of get back on track, because even with like Stranger Things season 2, where like they tried to, you know, have 11 go off on her own from the group, and a lot of people didn't like that. And obviously, you know, she did return, and the ending was very was decent. But I really hope that, you know, they kind of get back on track in season 3. I hope, you know, whatever disagreements that, you know, the cast and the crew, the cast of directors have, I hope they're able to smooth everything out, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, number one, you don't want people fighting on set or having those disagreements, because it affects the products overall. So it's very it's unfortunate for sure. But I mean, I still love this show, you know, with all of its flaws and whatnot. But I really hope that that we get back on track. But I wanted to ask you guys, where do you think Rue for season 3? When it comes to Rue and Jules, because Rue technically hasn't apologized to Jules yet. She's apologized to everyone else. So I'm not sure if that kiss on the forehead necessarily meant like, hey, we're good or not, because there was that monologue at the end where she's like, you know, I went my own way. So it's like, is Rue gonna run into trouble with, you know, the whole, you know, $10,000 worth of drugs that she stole? Or
it feels like they're just kind of trying to save her storylines for season 3, which is great for season 3, but obviously not great for season 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I wonder if this is more of just like an interlude for next year,
2024.
Yeah, for their next school. Yeah, is it coming out 2024?
No, 2 years.
2 years.
Wait,
in 2 years.
Yes,
from now.
yeah, 2024.
Yeah, 2024 is when it comes out.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're totally fine. Math, it's hard.
Good math. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Rue acknowledges that her relationship with Jules was toxic.
Yeah.
Because they also didn't communicate, as I said. And that could have been resolved very easily. Multiple times that they could have communication. But I think that that's done. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of Hunter Schafer in season 3, because again, like when you build up characters to only have a dynamic with one other character and have their entire plot be like with that character and being in a relationship with that character, then you have them that they're stuck. So I really liked, I think it was like episode 3, and it was Maddie and Jules having a moment. And apparently Maddie was supposed to give the disc to Jules instead of Nate giving the disc. And I'm like, again, girls being girls, like, hello, like that would have been so perfect if you had that one moment with them at the bowling alley. But they're not exploring these characters properly. So I think that Jules is going to suffer from that. And I think there's going to be a time jump in season 3 and they're going to move to like college years.
Oh, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, and like you're dealing with jail time. You're dealing with jail time. So if you have Fez there, you have Cal there, the only possible way for them to get out is like an X amount of time being passed. And if they're going to get into like legal stuff, they're going to do heavier drugs maybe. I think that it would be better in a college setting. I know Sam Levinson doesn't care about any of that because they clearly put it in a high school setting that this happens. But I think that he forgets that these are high school kids sometimes. And
That's
a
a
lot
good
of the
point.
stuff
That's
should
a
have just
really good
been
point.
pushed to college, you know?
Yeah. And I wonder because Rue did say that she stayed clean throughout the rest of the school year. And she did mention that she was kind of just like done. Like, but
not the most reliable narrator, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I wonder if she's either going to relapse or is it, are they going to bring up, like I said before, like the $10,000 of drugs? It's like, did they just did she just forget about her? Like whatsoever? I thought
that scene where she was getting morphine pumped into her, that was pretty scary.
That was there was a lot of heavy tense moments with Rue.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and then she just kind of just escapes out of a window, and then it's just done.
And then like she's scot free.
I was like, what is happening? But
no
even
responsibility, no repercussions.
Exactly. And like that's like such a scary moment.
For her, especially.
And like it shouldn't have been a high school student. Like you have to really look at it. Like I don't care how old Z is. It's like this is a high school student that's happening. Yeah. Like I'd be shitting my pants. Sorry, but like it's true. Like I don't know.
Also, who gives like a high school student $10,000 worth of drugs?
It's like you really trusted her that much.
Clearly, she's not that good of a drug dealer.
What?
It's like, Rue, I know your track record, and it ain't good. So I'm gonna have to pass on this business proposition that you have. And I guess what was her business proposition? Because I don't think they really explored it because she kept saying
to the high school kids or something.
I guess so, because she kept saying like, I have a plan. And then like she tells Elliot the plan, but I don't think we hear it. And then Elliot's like, that's a terrible plan.
Because he knew that like if you have all these drugs in your possession and you're an addict, it's just a front. And everyone, that's why Fez was like, I ain't doing that for you. Like, it's a front, right? So then like that's she's just freaking taking all of that.
Riding down, the street with her bicycle and this briefcase in her hand. I'm like,
it was so funny.
Playing dress up.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
That was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, what's in the suitcase? Like when we saw it during like the actual trailer, I'm like, oh, she's just like cruising down the street with drugs in her possession, just like whatever. But yeah, it is a crazy season. A lot of good. A lot of bad as well. Hopefully they get back on track with season 3. Because I mean, I want to see where these characters go. Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess you could say, it's like the new age Degrassi, whatever. But I actually believe that Sam Levinson has another show on Hulu called Dope Sick. I believe that's really,
it's really good.
Caitlin Dever's on it. I'm there.
Yeah, I know. Michael Keaton just won a SAG for it. Like,
okay.
Yeah. It was good. I watched the first 3 episodes and reviewed it, and I was like impressed. Again, like it's chaotic and too many characters.
Right.
But it's good.
It seems to be his style, no matter where he goes, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I
like
did
chaos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love chaos. I mean, I didn't even watch. I didn't watch the SAGs. I was catching up on some Batman, some Dark Knight, some Batman Begins, some Dark Knight Rises before.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I caught up with some news afterwards, but it's just so many award seasons are going on right now. It's just really hard to catch up. I'm really looking forward to the Emmys, though. That seems to be the one award season I usually gravitate towards, just because I feel like it is more of like celebration of all of TV and whatnot. And I generally watch more TV than watch movies. I think we've only reviewed like a few movies here on the podcast as of late. I think we're 5 in, and it's March, 5 or 6. But I mean, during the beginning of the year, it's a bit slower. But there's a lot of movies I just haven't seen yet because I've just been busy with a lot of other stuff. So kind of just have to watch what I can. So
Yeah, I feel that.
Hopefully. Well, nothing beats last March. Last March was crazy.
I miss last March so much.
Man, everyone, the big day's coming. Zack Snyder. I was like, oh man, let's go.
That was such a great. Oh my god, I'll never forget it.
I was very impressed by that movie. I mean, I bought the Blu-ray, so I must have liked it enough. But that
makes me so happy.
Yeah, I mean, I also have Justice League just to remind myself. It's there.
What
it's
did
I
say?
Thing.
I told you to throw it away. I don't understand. I don't care that you spend $5 on it. I told
$10.
You to. That's even worse. Oh my god, that's even.
It was
worse.
the 4K option. I'm sorry, I was gonna get my 4K Blu-rays up in here. But yeah, with that being said, did you guys have any other last thoughts before we close out here for Euphoria season 2? We'll kind of just give our quick little ratings of what we thought, and we'll close on out.
I have a quick little hypothetical.
Okay.
Would you rather be in the audience for the Lexi play from Euphoria or the Avengers play in Hawkeye?
I don't know, man. Okay. This is because Lexi's play was bomb. Like, I mean, regardless of the cat fight and everything that happened, like
that's just added entertainment.
That's just a bonus, you know?
I think I might have to go with the Avengers because
listen, the Avengers did not have that beautiful musical number from Ethan, so I'm definitely going with Lexi's play.
they're just in harmony the entire time. They're having a good time, flipping and jumping on stage.
Who knew Ethan had that much talent?
I know.
We never would.
Ethan was great.
And Kat's just sitting there like, I broke up with him because he was boring. I don't like him. Like, okay, your boy's not boring.
Ethan was great. I really wish we would have got more with Ethan. Like,
same.
He literally told Kat off and then he's like, I feel like you're looking for a way out, so I'm gonna go. And then I was like, and that was like the last time we saw Kat, like throughout the rest of the season.
I can't. Don't remind me.
Yeah. But did you have any final thoughts, Amanda, before we close out?
I pretty much ranted about everything.
Good.
Thanks. I think I was respectful. I want Sydney and Zendaya both to get nominated. I think
absolutely.
They both should. I'll start the campaign for both of them now because they were great. So
you really can't see the improvement in Sydney's performance from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah. She had a lot more to do, and I'm proud of her.
A lot of parallels like between the beginning and the end of the season too, when she's locked in the bathroom, and I was like, oh man, Maddie's coming for her.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like I would even want to be Maddie's friend. I'm like, listen, this is like a blood pact kind of deal that I'm sensing, and like if I like breathe wrong, you're gonna come after me. But I do love how Nate was like, oh, you know, if Maddie finds out, she's gonna hate me, but she's gonna kill you. I was like, that was scary.
Right? Oh my god.
I was like, man, like talking with Nate, like he's the only person who truly understands Maddie. But he has treated Maddie and Cassie essentially the same in certain ways. Like when it comes, especially with Maddie and the gun, that was
again, like this woman has been through enough trauma. There was no need for that to happen if Maddie was just gonna take that disc and give it to Jules. So you wrote that in for her, which upset me.
Fair enough.
Right? So
yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. But I do think that Nate really did care about Cassie. Because yes, he was like assertive, but he was only assertive with Maddie. And then with Cassie, it was like he took a back seat and let her there was like a power shift with that. And like he felt vulnerable and safe with Cassie, which is just like the opposite of what was happening with Maddie. So it's just a really interesting dynamic. And I wish we could have seen more of that. Because Nate did turn, I think. And then he just gets sucked back into the homophobia and all of that. And he just doesn't want to be himself. So,
and one last question. Does anyone think, like, besides obviously the people on that play, did you think that there was any other high schooler who didn't know that was about them?
I was
literally, like, because they even mention it. like the whole like high school, like the knockoffs. I was like, okay, even if I, wasn't a person sitting at home, if I was a person in this high school, I would have been like, yo, is that Rue? Like, is that supposed to be?
Why does that high school have a doppelganger for every character?
I know.
Yeah. Like
a perfect doppelganger.
Literally like
student.
the off-brand, like it's like Frosted Flakes, but it has like a polar bear on it instead of Tony the Tiger. And it's like, it's still called Frosted Flakes. It's like,
oh God.
It's
like,
literally the off-brand cereal versions of them, like the knockoffs.
Yeah. It's like, you can tap in, you'll understand. Like,
it's like in that 70s show when, oh my gosh, Eric Foreman says that his mom buys Twonkies instead of Twinkies.
Yes.
Because they're cheaper.
It's so funny. I know it.
I felt so bad. I'm like, okay, there's no way a single person in this high school does not know the drama that's going on. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And also, the police are nowhere to be found aside from the whole Fesco thing.
And not being able to catch
Cal.
Rue.
Like,
Rue's just
the cops are the
wandering
worst.
around the city.
I'm
But
like,
also, like, realistically, no trained police officer will snipe a 14-year-old boy.
That is very true.
Like, come on.
That's true.
That's
no matter if I got to give it to Ashtray though. He was, he was sneaky there for a second. He said, "Gotcha."
He's cold blooded.
He was cold blooded. I wish we would have gotten more of a reason why he decided to disobey Fez. I don't know why. Like it was kind of like we didn't get a lot of dialogue with him.
No.
I wish we would have gotten a little bit more. But I mean, it is what it just seemed like he turned into like the kid who's like a loose cannon.
Yes.
Type situation, which kind of sucks. I wish we got a little bit more with him. I mean, we did during the beginning of the season, which was great, but I'm not sure if that was like foreshadowing. But anyway.
Did you know the show is a remake?
Euphoria is?
Yeah. There's an Israeli show called Euphoria.
Stop.
Is there really? Ooh.
Oh my God, Sam Levinson's gonna get sued. Someone sue him. So
is this like a Lion King and Kimbo the White Lion type situation? Is this a Twonky situation?
It's in Hebrew, and it says the synopsis is Euphoria portrays a sexy, troubling, and bold profile of the teens of the 90s within a raging drama going on behind teenagers' closed doors.
Well, okay, he might have gotten the right. They might have gotten the rights for that.
I'm sure it's like
obviously it's legal. It's season 2. Like
it's just interesting that
never know. This is brand new information.
This is brand new information.
Oh my God.
Devin's always coming in with the.
It's on IMDb, like in connection to like Levinson.
It says remade as Euphoria 2019.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so we can't sue him, guys. This sucks.
Maybe we should review that one though. We should have been our Hebrew.
Got to brush up on her. I'll get the Rosetta Stone. I'll send it out. It'll be all good to go. But of course, oh my gosh, that was funny. So yeah, we won't get into ratings because I feel like we've just talked about it long enough here. But I wanted to thank Amanda for coming on, doing this with us. Like we said, this episode was very unplanned. Usually I like to stick to a structure, but it is what it is. Like we said, it's chaotic as season 2 itself. So we're kind of just spitballing ideas and more of a chill conversation between us. But thank you so much, Amanda, for coming on. If you want to let everyone know where they can find you on the internet and what's coming up on your channel.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It's always a blast with you guys. You guys can always follow me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can check out my YouTube, Candid Cinema, and my website, candidxcinema.com. I have my reviews for The Batman and Fresh, which is out on Hulu. And just don't eat before or during or after watching that movie because it's something. Don't do it. I was screaming at my television. So that's all.
I gotta watch that. There's so many things I have to watch. Like I still haven't seen Kimmy. I haven't seen Death in the Nile yet.
Finished up After Party last night.
I gotta catch up. Damn.
I gotta catch up. I'm only on episode 2, so
I was last night.
I really tried.
Season 2 is coming.
Yeah. I've been watching How I Met Your Father. It's okay.
I gotta
okay.
watch that too.
I watched the first episode and I was like, I'm good.
Well, like, okay, I'm there for Hilary Duff through and through. That is why I'm watching this show, because it's been so long. And her best friend played, oh my gosh, she was on Secret Life of American Teenager on ABC Family, I believe. I think that was her. I think was it Secret Life of American Teenager with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking right now. Anyway, what's coming up on our podcast, you may ask. We have a lot of stuff coming up. By the time this episode is out, our The Batman non-spoiler and spoiler review will be up on the podcast for everyone to listen to. We had Dives from the Suit Up Geeks join us on that adventure. So we're actually recording this before we released the spoiler episode of that one. So, batch recording, it's always a great idea. But other than that, we also have our Mockingjay, Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 review that is up on the podcast as well. We were joined by Nicole Ackman and JD Duran from In Session Film and Next Best Picture, respectively. So definitely check that out. We'll be closing out that franchise revisited series in April. So it'll be very sad to see it go. But we will be taking a short break from the franchise revisited series. I'm going to try out some new things here on the podcast because I thought about doing Twilight and I was like, I do want to do it.
Oh boy.
But like, I feel like it's going to be really fun. But later on. So those are a few things that we have up on the podcast for you guys. And always make sure to share an well, if you want to share friends, you can share friends. Like we're all, we're all
Nate shares friends.
Yeah, Nate does share friends.
That you gotta clip that. That was great. That was perfect.
Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Make sure to share an episode of our podcast with a movie lover in need. And always make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for us. Definitely helps out for us for feedback. Especially so we kind of like know what to work on, what to, hone in on and whatnot. But other than that, again, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. We talked about this a lot longer than I thought, but like, I'm here for it.
That's good.
Euphoria season 3, bring it on. I hope I hope the new Degrassi episode or the new season drops like around the same time Euphoria does. So Sam Levinson has like a little bit of a competition.
Oh God.
Because high school drama, it's an oldie but a goodie.
I don't think they'll do that. They'll spread it. Well, because they have Gossip Girl too. So right after Gossip Girl ended on HBO Max, then it went to Euphoria. So I think Degrassi's going to be like a summer show.
That's
There's so much happening in the teen drama cinematic universe.
I need a crossover. I need it. I need them all together.
If we could do a crossover, I would like that a lot. Like 100%.
Could you imagine if there was a Gossip Girl, which would be Lexi Howard technically at Euphoria High? How crazy that would be. Like just like put that together. Like a Gossip Girl in Euphoria High.
Somebody get Warner Brothers on the phone.
Are you listening?
This needs to happen immediately.
Yeah.
But with all that said, again, everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Sorry, my voice has been all over the place today. It's been a long, early Saturday for me, but we're going to close on out here. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Amanda, Devin. My name is Christian. And we'll see you guys at graduation. There we go.
Well
if these kids don't kill each other before they graduate.
I mean,
because Maggie was out for blood.
Lexi for valedictorian.
Oof.
Oh, you know what?
I like that too. I like it.
I like that. It seems very fitting for her character.
Yeah.
And now if it's Rue, because I think Rue's gonna make it. I think she's gonna make it.
I think so too.
For sure. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.